I'd like to call a regular meeting of Tuesday, May 22nd, 2024, 6 p.m. meeting to order. Would you, Commissioner Adamini, start the pledge for us, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Yeah, you're getting echo in there for some reason.
Thank you, Commissioner Adamini, for the pledge. Roll call, please, Linda. Or Corey Beth.
Commissioner DePietro?
Here.
Commissioner Adamini?
Here.
Commissioner Lalone? Here. Commissioner Alham?
Here.
Commissioner Nordine?
Yes. Here.
Chairperson Jerosha?
Here. Look for a motion to approve tonight's agenda.
Motion to approve?
Motion by Commissioner Lalone, support.
Do we have a late addition we wanted to propose to the agenda?
We have this for the landfill.
Oh, yes.
The landfill amendments, you'd call it? Is that 11A?
No,
It's going to
that's
be.
not. 11A's large animal emergency rescue.
Oh,
I need to rescind my motion.
no.
Can you-
Public comment for
No.
that.
Oh, it's public comment, Your Honor.
Late edition 11A resolution for authority, solid waste authority. So, Commissioner Lalone, would you like to amend? Yes, make a motion to.
Amend mine to include 11A.
Support.
Motion by Commissioner Lalone, support by Commissioner, or Vice Chair Nordine. Questions or comments? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Approval of agenda. Approval of the following minutes. Regular meeting held on May 7th, 2024.
Approve the minutes as presented.
Motion by Commissioner DePietro,
Second.
seconded by Commissioner Alholm. Questions or comments on the minutes? All in favor? Aye. Minutes approved. No proclamations, presentations, or awards. Public comment.
Good evening, Margaret Brum, 404 East Magnetic Street. I'm the first speaker tonight on this subject, so I'll do a lot of background and introduction before the technical expert stands up to give, again, we won't go over the time limit at all. Last summer, I had the privilege of working with members of the first responder community in this area. Thanks to the courtesy of the head of the NMU Police Academy, we were able to set up a training session for first responders, for police officers, and for basically any county or city employee that had an occasion to go out in the world and have to deal with what were called off-leash dogs. We learned later that there really wasn't an animal control organization set up for these circumstances within the county, and therefore it usually fell to the first responders and the police to deal with off-leash dogs, and that they were not necessarily being issued equipment or training to how to handle an off-leash dog. So as part of the training, we put together what I called a dog pillowcase, and was what was later renamed by very serious police officers the animal bag. But it consisted of equipment so that you had a slip leash, some treats, a water dish, a towel, gloves, pooper bags, things that help with off-leash dogs. And I had these on my fridge, and it was well-regarded training. You had Marquette County Sheriff's deputies attend, and one of them was gracious enough to give an interview where he said he really appreciated getting training on dealing with off-leash animals because the 4th of July was coming up, and he knew he was going to encounter them because the fireworks always, off-leash dogs ran away. We also got positive feedback from the Park Patrol from the city of Marquette, again for the same reason, that they were given the right equipment. Well, as a consequence of that training session, I got involved in another training session, which was the first of its kind, which was for what we call large animal rescue. Now, I'm going to be using some kind of gruesome words later on, but right now, when most people think large animal rescue, you think of maybe a horse caught in a fence with a cow laughing at it, or something that looks more humorous and could be resolved. The large animal rescue community thinks of these circumstances as 4 horses are being trailered from one part of the Upper Peninsula to another. For example, we just had a barrel race show in Gwynn this past weekend. So the horses are already traveling on Upper Peninsula roads from one end of the Upper Peninsula to the other. And right now, there is no large animal rescue equipment or van or trained personnel within the Upper Peninsula. And my colleague, Kathy Rupert, has been doing a ton of work connecting with people, and she'll speak more about this later on. But what I'm here tonight to do to set the stage is there is training being offered in Autrain on June 1st, and all of you should have this notice. We're asking the county board to put this out to your sheriff's deputies and to your people who are first responders. It's a relatively modest price. There's an expert coming up from downstate. There will be classroom training and hands-on training. Because right now, and this is where it's going to get a little gruesome, right now, if a 4-trailer horse trailer goes into the ditch and it's stuck in such a way that you don't have the equipment or personnel to get the horses out, and they're screaming in agony because they've been hurt, the only situational response that we can offer to your law enforcement personnel is advice on how you can kill an animal with 1 bullet. In fact, the large animal vet had a poster of how you kill a large animal with 1 bullet. And I was fascinated by this. I didn't know there were different places you had to aim. The trouble with that is you can euthanize the animal humanely, but then the average weight of a horse is about what, 2,000 pounds? Okay, 1,000 pounds per horse. So 4 horses, 4,000 pounds. You still can't get the trailer. Imagine a trailer going off the ditch at the Walmart roundabout. You still can't get the trailer out of the ditch because you don't have equipment to lift it. So at that point in time, after the animals have been euthanized, you have to send in a crew with chainsaws to dismember the animals and bring them out piece by piece to get the weight of the trailer down so that then you can haul it out. And I'm not trying to be gruesome. I'm not trying to ruin your meals. I'm trying to say that this is all we have to offer to you right now. So when you see these signs and how important this is, Kathy is a horsewoman of excellence. She is connected with a number of different people, both in the Upper Peninsula and downstate, and she has proposals for you to listen to. This is new. It doesn't mean that it's an emergency. It's just this is new, and she's going to do a really good job of letting you know what's available and what can happen. And from her own personal experience, having an animal like this, her slogan is that every day a horse chooses suicide or homicide. So again, we can only hope that we get your training done, and thank you for your time. Let me introduce.
Mayor, who is sponsoring this?
Oh, the training is coming from, the person's name is Vicki Schmidt. She's the main fire services instructor for a volunteer firefighter. She's an owner of a horse farm. She's coming to Munising at the request of a number of different rescue organizations because we simply haven't had large animal training personnel available. Kathy can go into more detail. 2 more seconds, sir. We contacted Lansing about this. And Lansing said, well, we've got these specialized vehicles downstate and specialized personnel. We don't have one for the UP now, and if we were going to put one up here, we'd put it in Ogden in the western UP, because that's where most of the animals are. And Kathy has educated me, there's over 500 horses in Marquette County alone, and they're always going someplace. So again, let me excuse myself, because I'm not the expert, this lady is, but thank you for your graciousness in listening to me. Kathy Rupert, everyone.
Hi, I'm Kathy Rupert, 412 Taylor Road, Gwynn, Sands Township. I'm here this evening to bring to your attention an upcoming opportunity for our community. There are several types of circumstances where animal rescue is needed for both large and small animals. When animal abuse, neglect, and hoarding occur, our law enforcement UPAWs and veterinarians work collaboratively to address the need. However, there is another type of rescue for which Marquette County is unprepared and for which an opportunity is about to occur. Our first responders are equipped to handle the snowmobile, the boater, the hiker, the hunter, and even an aircraft incident. But when accidents or incidents happen involving livestock, first responders are not trained in how to respond, nor equipped, and may not come at all. And Marquette County has no animal control officer equipped for the task either. Therefore, any and all livestock events fall on the shoulders of our untrained fire, search, and rescue and law enforcement should they occur in our communities. Large animals are not only expensive, they've been known to follow livestock trailers right in front of the Ishpeming Ski Hall of Fame. They get stuck in mud, they get loose, and that's just a short list for what the horses, cattle, pigs, chickens, sheep, alpaca, buffalo, and even emu, who I recently learned can kick you in the head. Large animals present their own set of unique needs, and they are prey animals. And under stress or not, they are unpredictable and vulnerable. Large animals require prompt rescue. They can't remain down for extended periods of time as their own body weight will kill them. They can't wait for Tractor Supply to open so equipment could be obtained for their rescue and containment, nor can owners, the local livestock guide, or bystanders, all of whom are untrained and equipped, respond to this type of specialized rescue operation. Livestock is property, and it does fall under the mission of organized rescue associations within our community. And first responders don't know that just because a large animal has multiple legs, a tail, and a head, I'll spare you the graphic images of what happens when you pull on those. Having knowledge to safely place rescue lines and move animals is of value to all at the accident scene. Rescue units already have some equipment that's needed to perform a safe rescue, and by attending the upcoming class in our train, they can learn what else might need to be in their toolbox as a supplement, and also learn the techniques that others have learned over the course of time through these type of rescue trainings. The UP livestock and horse communities on social media are promoting this course to our owners, first responders, humane societies, and veterinarians. First responders do get in free, and I welcome all of you here to attend yourselves. Please support and thank those who have already registered that you might encounter who are coming from our first responder community. And please encourage anyone who might have an interest to come as well. Next, because my first topic is a real issue for responders and owners, it's also an issue for the Michigan Department of Transportation, especially as the number of livestock on our roadways increases each year. Noticeably, right here in Marquette County, we have a number of new show additions to our communities. There's fairs, there's rodeos, and our trails right now are being promoted quite heavily throughout the state. This increases traffic as well as the new livestock veterinarian that's put in her clinic, and we are excited to have her at the crossroads. Michigan State Extension, in cooperation with the Michigan Department of Transportation, has developed a program for which they call it the E-Rail program. It's for emergency response for accidents involving livestock. The goal of Michigan State is to help first responders be ready should an accident occur. Through grant funding, 17-foot-long trailers have been placed in lower Michigan, and there have now been teams placed for large animal emergency rescue. And there is a promise that they will place trailers in the UP as more grant monies are coming to fund additional trailers. We'd like to at least have 4. Also, E-Rail will provide first responders, veterinarians, and owners with training in how to use the equipment and the techniques that are needed to safely extract animals that fall down and can't get up. The next course is October in Lansing, and they are willing to host a class here, and there is even an online course available.
5 minutes is up.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you for your time. Thank you. Public comment.
Tim Overmeyer from West Branch Township. I'm here to talk about the road commission. Why the Act 51 money isn't given to the townships, that the townships are all responsible for the road repair. The county's, in our estimation, is not even doing the job of maintaining the roads. They won't even dig out the ditches when they say they were gonna dig out the ditches. The water's running dead down all of our roads. So I'm asking the county commissioners to look into it and talk to their district and figure out why we're not getting the Act 51 money to help pay for these roads. Even if we put a millage on our little township, 1 mill is $36,000. To fix Amon Lake Road is over $600,000. We need help fixing our roads. And it's a gas tax that we all pay equally, and it should be distributed to the townships like it's supposed to. Marquette County's side roads, township roads, are in terrible condition throughout the whole county. I travel the whole UP quite often, and we have the worst roads. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment. Public comment. Public comment. Any further public comment? Any electronic comment? No. And we'll close the public comment. There will be time available at the end of the meeting, which are 3-minute public comments. Moving on, review of claims and accounts. Total expenditures paid via check and EFT transfer for the period of May 3rd, 2024 through May 16th, 2024 were $1,075,670.87. And the biweekly payroll for the period ending May 11th, 2024 was $793,288.32. Sir.
Pay the bill.
Motion by Commissioner Alholm to pay the bills, support by Commissioner Lalone. Any questions or comments on the bills? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Pay the bills. No public hearings. Privilege comment, Undersheriff. Do you have any? Okay, thank you. No informational items. Action items, 2024 tax rate request form L40949, excuse me. We have in front of us the approved 2024 tax rate from Treasurer and Ann. It's pretty self-explanatory.
Did you call her the treasurer?
He did.
Okay. Sorry. No, you were a treasurer for a long
I
time.
was.
Oh, you were.
CFO. Look for a motion to approve the 2024 tax rate for Marquette County.
Move to approve.
Motion to approve by Commissioner Alholm. Support? Support by Commissioner Lalone. Questions or comments on the tax table? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Non-representative employees request. Scott, would you like to?
Thank you, Chair. Assuming I have that on or don't.
No, you're on. You were on.
Okay, thank you. Over the many years that,
You're on. Maybe you're on.
that's a green light,
Yeah? Okay.
No, one more. No, you're on.
same place I was before. All right, it is, I think they cut me off purposely, so. So over the years, and it kind of stalled for a while, when I first started in this job as HR risk manager, there was a group of non-represented employees that would meet periodically with the administrator and the HR person and talk about things of interest to them. They are not in a bargaining group, but they would want to have a voice as far as things that affect them as the non-represented groups. They reactivated that maybe a year plus ago and brought to me some things that they would like for some consideration. We worked through some of them that were items that were tied to, tuition reimbursement, other things where there's other programs, so provided information on that for them. But tonight I have before you 3 of the items that I feel I would like to recommend for the board's consideration this evening. As I noted in here, there's approximately 45 non-represented employees. And what we have for you tonight are 3 items. The first is, it's already in the personnel policy where the non-reps have an ability to sell back some of their vacation time if they're unable to use it during the course of the year. Some have asked for extension of that amount, and I think it's reasonable. I think I put in here that In the past, it's kind of averaged about $20,000 of actual payback. Some people maybe don't put in for all of it, some don't do it at all because they've used their time, nor have an interest in it. But as a response to that, I'm recommending the board consider doubling that amount to 80 hours. That's not also unlike, so in the correction side, I think, or the road patrol, one of those also has the ability, corrections, to sell back upwards to 80 hours of their time. So I think it's a reasonable request, and I'd ask for the board's consideration. If in fact we do that, we would, as you see, have an adjustment into the annual leave buyback in the personnel policy. The other one in here that we have is something that I think would be a benefit that would be beneficial in all of the organization. Currently, it's just bargained under the courthouse union, but it is the parental leave benefit. Unfortunately, we just can't apply that to everybody because in the other unions, if it's of interest to them, they'd have to bargain for it. But it's an interest here, and I think it's a strong benefit. As part of we look at for retention and recruitment of people having benefits like this, I would recommend that be added as well to the personnel policy. And I think I included some draft language for that. And lastly, they've asked for consideration for a retention bonus of $250 to be distributed in July. Approximate cost, and I say approximate because these things vary a little bit, is $14,000. So what I'd estimate is the increase would be approximately $35,000. Obviously, that's not an exact number. All of these come with my recommendation for the board's consideration this evening.
So any questions for Scott? Does anybody have? Dana?
Make a motion first?
Yeah, well, motion to get it on the floor. Sure.
Motion to get it on the floor?
Motion by Commissioner Lalone.
You gotta make a motion to adopt it. You can always vote against it.
Yeah, right.
We do motions to get on the floor, it confuses the issue. So, motion to follow our recommendation.
Motion by Commissioner Lalone.
And I'll support.
Support by Vice Chair Nardine.
So there are 45 employees that are non-represented, so
Approximately.
they can't be in a union?
They're not in a union right now. The majority of them are exempt employees. There's a handful, a small number that are in specialized positions that deal with a lot of confidential information that are not technically exempt, but are non-represented, so.
And they're be full-time, part-time? These are full-time.
These are, that's a good question. I think the majority are full-time.
Any further questions, Commissioner?
Well, the non-represented employee request retention bonus for $250. Can you tell me more about the retention bonus again?
It's an idea that what's been done in other bargaining units is having a bonus that's recognizing the people staying here. It's different than longevity. It's one of these that some have made it on their anniversaries, that kind of a thing, to acknowledge and to encourage people to continue to stay here. We have it in either corrections, I think it's corrections, has a kind of a retention bonus that's gotten done annual. If you're here for another year, you get $500. I think the courthouse, it was a one-time bonus for them for retention. It's in lieu, longevity. One of the things we do have for some of them, like the non-reps, is a longevity payment, and some of the other unions have that. But the time, and that might be something that gets looked at over time as well, because to reach the maximum amount in longevity, it can take 10+ years to get to that. So this was just a recognition of people staying around for being employees here with the county.
And then the paid parental leave, that makes sense for me, but for all of our employees, 2 weeks really isn't that long.
No.
From having given birth myself and having to sit out for 2 months. I'm just putting it out there.
Yeah, we do follow the other rules, the federal laws.
I wasn't even walking around.
Yeah, but we follow the federal laws with regard to, leave and other things for having children and other things. But this is a new component to it, to add it. 2 weeks of that is, that the county covers that and they get paid, so.
I know we have at least 8 unions, but generally speaking, the request by the non-represented group of people who met with you comparable to what our collective bargaining units have?
These are, yes. I mean, the benefits overall are very similar. I mean, if you start breaking down the contracts, there'll be different nuances in each of them, but a lot of our contracts are very similar with regard to what the non-reps get.
I think that, you know, our employees should be treated the same, whether they're represented by a union or not. And I know there's disagreements about that, and there's probably some good disagreements about that, but as to these recommendations, I would support them.
Commissioner Adamini.
I'm not against this. And I believe, if they are missing out on something that, the other people, are getting, I think we should do that. But this is the first I've heard of it. And I would like to have some more, information on it, so I can vote for it, because, some of my constituents running for office, might say, well, what was that money for? And so I'm sure I will vote for this if we have more particulars.
Can I ask what you'd be looking for, Commissioner?
Well, I don't know. There's 6 of us.
Correct.
And we're the ones that have the power to say yes or no on it.
Understood, right.
And so, I would like to discuss it with the other 5 members. I'm sure your proposal is knowing how tight you are, that it's not gonna be extreme.
No.
I feel uncomfortable when no one has told me before. I got my packet yesterday, and this was new, and I think I would like to discuss it with the other members of the board, and we can vote on it at the next meeting.
So, I'll wait till you're done.
Are we
So-
needing more, like, departments, what the jobs are?
I'm not sure what you're
I
looking
guess,
for.
are you, Commissioner, are you done?
Yes.
Okay. Vice Chair Nordine.
So, I sort of agree with Steve, and I'll tell you why, because I don't know, without looking, and Karen had said that there's about 8 units, is there 8?
8 bargaining units.
8 bargaining
yes.
units, and I'm not sure which ones have these things, which ones don't, and we shouldn't always compare them. I understand that too. The unions form a group, and they certainly negotiate their own things, although I think we can certainly look at what they have, so we can balance that and see what we want to provide to the non-represented. But I don't know, to tell you the truth, which ones do or which ones don't. I mean, I heard a comment that the corrections maybe have this 80 hours for the annual leave. Okay, which ones
Correct.
don't then? Which ones don't?
So if I might, and one of the things that, I've been in with the county for quite some time, and one of the things that has been a consistent theme is because they don't get to bargain officially, that they feel that they get left behind on some of these things. So that's why we started meeting again, and these were the things that were of a priority. One of the things that was different for them, because for the longest time, there wasn't and I'd have to go back today, but early on, the gap between the management and the non-reps, some of the higher paid non-reps, was not that great. So they were trying to find ways of having some separation as an administrative position or management for that. That's why the 40-hour buyback has been there for a long, long time. All they were asking for is a consideration to look at that a little bit broader for some of that, and that's why that's there. The parental leave, that's just something I think evolving with regard to modernizing some of the benefits in which we offer employees.
Still, with all that, I would like to know, like Steve did, I think that's just what Steve wants too, I'd like to know which of the 18 bargaining units have 80, or let's put it this way. Of the 8 bargaining units, how many hours are they allowed to sell back? Which ones have the 2 weeks for parental leave? And then what did we pay for retention bonuses to the collective bargaining units in the last year or two?
Okay.
Just curious. I mean, that'd be nice to look at those things, right? When you're looking at these things. And to tell you the truth, I have no trouble with the retention bonus. I really have no trouble with the parental leave. God knows I have 5 kids. I would like to take 2 weeks off every time I had dinner with a kid. But I do have a little problem with the buyback, and just because of the way things went over the last 20 or 30 years, or however long I've been doing politics, where it got to be a bad thing where workers would, use comp time or gain comp time, use that and put their vacation off so they'd have this big buffer when they went to retire, and it would cost us a bunch of money. And we stopped doing that. So, I mean, not just us, I mean, just in general, the trend has been for the last 10 years that municipals have been tailoring that off, saying, wait a second, we don't want that big liability looming for us, and we don't want them to be able to have these big, vacation times built up. So, with that, I'm good with balancing that, but I would like to see what the collective bargaining units have, though.
Okay, thank you.
Why don't,
Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner DePietro.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is for our city manager, Scott.
Do you have anything
Scott,
noted?
had you worked with both sides together, with the union, non-union?
This is strictly, I am part of the union negotiations, if that's what you're asking, but this is the non-represented group speaking on their people, talking to me about what they're finding of interest to them. That's what this is.
But what you're looking at is to allow the non-union, you want to grant that request that they want?
These are the items that I'm bringing to the board, yes, that I feel should be considered by the board this evening, yes.
And because I've still got the floor. So anyway, one of the things is, when I was in the city manager tried that, and he got a lot of flack from the union because they fought for their benefits.
Right.
And then the non-union just sat back because they didn't want to pay union dues to receive the same benefits.
This is a little different.
Tell me.
Because they would not be paying union dues because they're not in a bargaining unit.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, so they're exempt employees, and traditionally, they're not usually in unions, so they can.
Well.
I'll wait till he's
That's one
done.
of the things.
Okay,
I'll
well,
come back.
I'm happy to bring
I'll come
back
back.
whatever the board is asking for, so.
Okay, okay, I'll give you the.
No,
floor.
you're okay. I just,
Anyways, I just know the feeling that the courthouse asked me would be ruffling feathers with, so, yeah, I can't tell Scott how to do it, but I can vote on it, but anyways, I just wanted to say what I wanted to say, and I'll
Thank
give
you.
the floor back.
Commissioner Alholm.
thank you, and Commissioner DePietro, I do agree with you, or at least understand some of your points, but looking at these, I don't see anything antagonistic towards what our collective bargaining units have negotiated for. And also, I don't see any time is of the essence issue here. So perhaps, and the questions brought up and the information sought, I think are worthy. So would it be appropriate to make a motion to table this?
Or we could rescind it either way. Or the maker of the motion and the support could rescind their motion.
Oh, okay.
Either way. I think it was you and I, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So,
Oh, oh, there you go.
No, it was Commissioner Malone made the motion, Vice Chair Nordine supported.
I'm happy to
You know,
rescind if you want. Okay.
okay, so,
We rescind our motion.
so, as I understand it, you're gonna withdraw your motion?
Yeah.
And,
Yes.
okay.
And then I would move to put this matter on the next agenda, if that's feasible, enough time for staff to get the information requested.
Sure.
Okay, so there's a motion on the floor by Commissioner Elholm to readdress this item and support by Commissioner Malone.
Yep.
Okay, now question, so I have a few comments as well. So, first I'd like to address, I think, this item that we're talking about coming back on the agenda, we will discuss that here at this board. Scott will bring back new information. So any decisions made will be here at the board. I'll make that clear. And then secondarily, I'd like to know from Ann, before we move down this path, where are we getting the funding from?
I would bring you a budget amendment. I would suspect that there's ample funding in either tax revenues or marijuana tax, or, I'm not concerned about it, if that answers the question, but
Yes.
I would bring you a budget amendment at mid-year to cover the extra cost.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
So, any further discussion
I have
on
one.
tabling?
So, and I want to make it very clear that I would never bring a motion to give our non-represented the exact same things that we gave to the collective bargaining agreement. I wouldn't do that, because I think the collective bargaining unit spent a lot of time and effort, and they negotiated for what they negotiated. But what I do think is correct is to look at what we provided others and use that as a mark to kind of say, okay, what are we providing our employees generally? So that's just, I just want to make sure everyone understands that.
Any further questions or comments? So the only remark I have left is that, you know, they don't have a collective bargaining unit, which we understand, and I recognize the effort by staff to continue,
And rightfully so.
yes. Okay,
Thank you.
so motion on the floor, support, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Space Needs Ad Hoc Recommendation. Scott, that's back to you.
Yeah, and I.
Let's zing through this.
On the memo based on what you guys had talked about at your last meeting, and thought to keep the process rolling for your consideration, we put together a recommendation on the Space Needs Ad Hoc, which would focus on jail, and we say broader, just Space Need Ad Hoc, but can also focus on jail and where that needs to go with the rest of the other operations here in this building, if at all, but that's what we're bringing for you tonight. Is you'd have the ad hoc of three county board members, myself, the deputy county administrator, finance, sheriff or undersheriff, jail captain, road patrol, facilities manager, and then obviously we would bring out others as needed. The other part of this would be ultimately getting the committee established, and then work on getting a consultant going from that, whether it's, you're gonna need one specifically for jail at some point, and to have that committee identify some of those priorities and next steps, and focusing on getting a consultant going and RFP prepared for that. So, but tonight is a recommendation to appoint the Space Needs Ad Hoc Committee, and those, and obviously feel free to amend, and if the board accepts this, they could appoint 1, 2, 3 members to that from the board.
Look for a,
I would move to follow staff's recommendation and appoint all of the members that he suggests. I guess we do need to come up with names for the county, though.
I guess,
I would certainly like to be on that committee. I'd volunteer to do that.
I would be interested.
I think we're gonna have to draw straws on this one. So we have a motion on the floor by
Yeah,
Vice
there's
Chair
a motion,
Nordine,
We'll decide what's.
support by Commissioner Malone. Discussion. No discussion, I have some. So, I'm certainly in favor of looking at, the jail study and updating that. I don't know if we can contact the former supplier of the last jail study, if they're still around, or...
Should have it, right?
We have the jail study. There'll be a little bit of an effort to find, because I think we hired a local engineering firm who brought in a consultant under that, but that's stuff that we could get the direction to start looking into, and whether you limit it just to the existing jail study or take it farther than that, that's, I think, also part of what the committee will determine.
And I guess my question is utilizing the courthouse annex is necessary. So, I don't want to have to play musical chairs throughout the county court building here, certainly, but we need to look at our space needs for the jail study. That's my feeling on this. Vice Chair.
No, I agree. I want to look at the jail. I don't want to get into this too big of a project and then nothing gets done. So I don't want to, even though I think that we do need to look at our space needs at some point. Obviously, things are on the wrong floors here. We could have got all the courts together. It'd be a lot better for security and everything else, efficiencies. But I don't want to get into that, because when you get too big of a project, we won't get it done. So the one thing that's really important at this point juncture is the jail. And we really need to focus this on the jail, and it may affect, I know we've talked about maybe moving the sheriff over here to allow the jail to expand on the other side, so it may affect this building, but I don't want to see it get too far either. I don't want it to get legs and start getting too much.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Yep, that's fine.
So we have a motion on the floor and support. Any further questions or comments?
Well, is the motion in support just for the jail needs now then, or for?
To do the committee. So we're
These
just
are
kind of
committee recommendations.
We're giving some dicta to the committee here.
Yep.
Gotcha.
Motion on the floor and support. Any further questions or comments?
What's the motion?
The motion is to accept, to appoint, to create the ad hoc committee.
Okay, that's clear.
With the members being the ones listed there.
Yes.
And we don't know which board members yet.
We're gonna just fight over it.
Well,
Any further
it's
question-
important to all of us, it really is.
Yeah, any further questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you, Scott.
Thank you.
Marquette County Road Commission. The Marquette County Road Commission has sent us a request. They're seeking support in efforts to get some state funding to create a roundabout at 480 and 553, a very busy intersection, and upgrade 480. As you know, we have Sawyer Airport, and any economic development is certainly tied to the quality of the roads going out there, and the roundabout would make it much safer. Having said that,
What specific support are they asking?
they're just seeking for support, requesting state funding of approximately
So-
10 million to create a roundabout and update the roads.
Basically an approval of their
Yes,
plan.
their work plan, correct.
That's a move.
So a motion on the floor to support Marquette County Road Commission's efforts
So moved.
by Commissioner Alholm. Is there support?
Support.
Support by Commissioner Adamini. Any further questions or comments? Vice Chair.
So I wish the road commission was here tonight. I don't see him anywhere. Because it's a big thing for us supporting a $10 million request for money. But I also had a couple of comments for him. One being that, we gave them $2 million to buy a chip seal machine, and I understand from the chair that they've been using it, but we made a point when they were in front of us to say that that needs to benefit the townships too. So we gave them $2 million, and we didn't want them to turn around and then charge the townships for doing chip seal projects, that they needed to, work with the township and make a joint or do something. And they said, oh, absolutely. Well, I want to make sure that happened. So I would have liked to ask them that. And the second thing is that I think there's some problems with the way the road commission, I heard a public comment from Tim Overmeyer from West Branch Township. There's some problems with the way the road commission handles their funding of local road repairs. And I agree with Tim that they get Act 51 fuel tax money, and it used to be that, I remember back in the 90s when I was on the Forsyth board, and they came to us at the road commission and said, we want the township to start paying half, because it says in Act 51 that they have to get contribution from somewhere else. And they said, we think contribution means 50/50. And then it was 50/50 to do local roads. And then all of a sudden they came out and said, no, we're low on money, so we're gonna have the townships pay 60 and we'll pay 40. And then about 3-4 years ago, they come out and said, no, the township's gonna pay 100% and we pay nothing. But they still get Act 51 money. So I'm not sure that's appropriate. I've been harping on that for years. Now I see Tim harping on it. And I think there's problems for smaller townships like West Branch that have bad roads and are not sure what to do about it. That's one part of it. The other part of it is that, you know, I sat in a meeting at West Branch a few years ago, and Jim Iwaniki was there as well. And Jim promised he'd come down there and do ditching and maintenance along their roads, especially Ingman Lake Road, and I think 545 as well. And they never did.
He's retired.
I understand, but he spoke for the road commission, and the road commission's not retired. So I'm a little bit unhappy at this moment with the road commission. So I kind of wish they were here, but that doesn't mean I won't vote for this, because we're asking for money, and I think a roundabout would be great at 553, as Randy Yell would know. 553 and 480 is a terrible thing. I come in the morning, sometimes there's 20, 30 cars back up. So, and everybody does the same thing that Karen and Dana did earlier. They all say, you go, no, you go. And it screws everything up. So, I think a roundabout would be great. But I'm unhappy with the road commission.
So we have a motion and support. Any further questions or comments? Hearing none. All in favor? Aye. Moving right along. Solid Waste Authority. Vice Chair, would you, disclose, one, that you will not be voting on this, for you have a conflict, and would you?
Yes. I'm abstaining because I do represent the landfill. However, I do have all the background information, so as a helpful aid, I'm going to provide that information. As you know, we are signing the bond for the...
Before I start, I guess, I'd like to recognize, there's a group, Tim Obermeyer, the Honorable Tim Obermeyer from West Branch is in the House as a trustee today. I see Township Supervisor, the Honorable Gary Woomer in the back seat, Honorable James Belpedio from Champion Township Trustee, the Honorable former Mayor of Marquette, Dave Campana. He's also the Solid Waste Authority board member. The Honorable Lynn Durant next to him from Marquette Township, Township Supervisor. The Honorable Chairman of the Solid Waste Authority, Randy Yell. The Honorable Jim Brennan from Republic Township, Supervisor of Republic Township. And I think that gets everybody. Thank you for all you do for others, and thank you here for your time tonight. And please feel free, if you have any comments on this specific issue, to come up to the podium. Thank you. Go ahead, Bill.
Okay, so you all recall that we signed, overwrote really the bond for the landfill to first of all consolidate their debt, which they needed to do in order to get the bond to construct a PFAS facility under the SRF funds. We had asked that they do that in 7 years and condense all their payments into that. And we happened to go out, our bond counsel, Miller Canfield, went out and asked the state of Michigan. The state of Michigan came back and said, you're not allowed to have SRF bonding for anything less than 20 years. So we're not allowed to do the 7 years. We're allowed to do the 7 years for the consolidation bond, the consolidation debt. We're not allowed to do the 7 years for the SRF construction bond, which is about $2.8 million. So we're required to fix this. What you really need is someone to say this, and we got all this information from our bond counsel, Miller Canfield. So we need someone to pass a motion that says the bonds for the, pass a motion that we amend our letter of understanding to say that the bonds for the SRF project shall amortize over the minimum period allowed by the state of Michigan, but not less than 7 years. However, the authority agrees to make maximum advance payments as allowed.
Okay,
So if somebody would make that motion.
So before we move on, I just want to make it clear that this board has set conditions to the Solid Waste Authority, whether those are likable conditions or not. We need to make sure that those conditions become fulfilled. and as we're moving forward. And I believe Chairman Yell is in full support of that. Having said that, I'd like to make a motion to amend the SRF contract bond application, or I guess it's the SRF contract.
Well, there's two things, or three things. So first, we gotta amend our letter of understanding, okay? Then we have to adopt a new resolution with the new years, and then we have to adopt the new contract, SRF contract, with the new years. So the only thing that's changed in these two things, and if you look at them, they're in red line, and the only thing that's really changed, so if you look at the SRF contract, for instance, the only changes are on the first page, which has a date, on page 4, which has now different amounts that are required for repayment every year, and then on page 8, which says that it's gonna be 20 years instead of 8 years. We had 8 on there.
So where I was going is we need to amend the SRF contract. Can I get that out of the way?
Sure.
So I need a motion on the floor to amend the SRF contract.
I thought you made the motion.
I'm asking for a yes, sorry about that.
I don't know if I call it, I think it's adopted, because it's part of
Adopted.
the amendment, the new SRF contract, to adopt the new SRF contract.
Adopt.
Yeah.
Motion by Commissioner Elholm to adopt the new SRF contract as presented. Support by Commissioner DePietro. Any further questions or comments? Hearing none, all in, roll call vote?
Commissioner Alholm?
Yes.
Commissioner DePietro?
Yes.
Commissioner Adamini?
Yes.
Commissioner Lalone?
Yes.
And Chairperson DeRosa?
Yes.
I abstain.
And yes. So, adopting the bonds for the SRF project to be amortized minimum allowable by the state, not to,
That's the amendment to the letter of
the
understanding.
amending, not to, but not less than 7 years. However, the authority agrees to make maximum advance payments as allowed. Motion on the floor.
I'll move to amend our letter of understanding to that effect, but I have one question afterwards. Because, well, I don't understand why we're doing an increase to 20-year bond, but then we're including, but
Okay,
not less than
let's-
7 years.
Let's go to support, and I'll tell you why.
Okay. Motion by Commissioner Elholm, support by Commissioner Lalone.
So two things, so the, Miller Canfield wanted to put that not less than 7 years, just in case something happened and they were able to go lower, just want to make sure that it never goes less than 7 years, which is what we wanted to put on them. It's going to be 20. The second sentence there is because they said, the state of Michigan came back and said, the minimum amortization for a bond under SRF program is 20 years. However, after 10, you're allowed to go to them and ask them to make advance payments.
Okay.
So the second sentence says, the authority agrees to make maximum advance payments as allowed.
After 10 years.
After 10 years.
That would be.
So
But you gotta seek permission.
they can be escrowed, and at 10-year, 1 month, pay off the complete bond in 10 years and 1 month.
Okay, so that will be in our letter of understanding as well.
Yes, and also it was made clear by Miller Canfield that the bond payments do not start until the facility has been completed and handed over. So the timeline would be pushed back, so that's why.
Okay.
That's okay. So we have a motion and support on the floor. Any further questions or comments?
So where is that paragraph?
It's on the one page where it starts on, it's one of our County of Marquette's, yes. In the middle there. In the bold.
All right, this is the part, I thought it was in one of these.
No, it's just one page here with the bold in the middle.
Letter of understanding.
Okay.
Because that's gonna be an amendment to the letter of understanding. So we're trying to make sure that our letter of understanding jives with our contracts that we just changed. There's one more to do, by the way.
Yes. Any further questions or comments? All in favor, or roll call vote, please, Corey Beth.
Commissioner Alholm?
Yes.
Commissioner Lalone?
Yes.
Commissioner Adamini?
Yes.
Commissioner DePietro?
Yes.
And Chairperson DeRosa?
Yes. Next, we have the resolution approving the contract and authorizing notice. I'd look for a motion by Commissioner DePietro. Support by Commissioner Adamini. Any questions or comments? Hearing none. Corey Beth?
Commissioner DePietro,
Yes.
Commissioner Adamini,
Yes.
Commissioner Alholm,
Yes.
Commissioner Lalone,
Yes.
Chairperson DeRosa.
Yes. Moving along, public comment.
I just understand that you got a contract you agreed to. Isn't that an agreement with the authority? What is the contract that you just approved for the $2.8 million?
That's
A bond.
approving a bond for Marquette County to have a financial obligation for the bond required to build
Commissioners are
the,
backing the bond.
Correct.
What you're telling me.
correct, Marquette County.
Okay. Now, 19 townships are in on this. Now, does 19 townships have a say on the two other things that have to be equaled out? The non-secured bank money they got? They have to get a loan, a bond for that.
So there's,
There's two.
so normally we don't do this under public comment, but, for the sake that we've allowed the individuals here to be able to speak to
This is
this
gonna cost us all money to our
issue.
taxpayers.
So we approved tonight amending or addressing the length of the bond. There's two bonds.
I
What-
understand that one. The other one I don't understand.
One is to pay the debt, to clean up all the debt that the Solid Waste Authority has occurred, which is the first bond for 7 years. The second is the bond that builds the PFAS plant that will mitigate the,
I understand that. When will we, as townships, get a rough figure on the increase on the tonnage?
that's a question, we're just the finance company in this deal. That's a question for the Solid Waste Authority.
Okay, now other thing, on roads. I'm from Republic Township. We spent almost $500,000 to do 3 miles of road. And we paid that out of our pocket. Our taxpayers went for 3 mills for 10 years, so we could go out and get capital improvement bonds to start this process at 5% because of the economy. Now, on a chip seal, it's a 60-40 deal. I gotta pay 60%. Okay?
That was my question, see, I didn't know what they were
They
doing.
have to do it, it's 60%, I'm told, that I have to pay for chip seal. And I told it's around $40,000 a mile. So, my concern is, I'm happy with the county road commission because your tax money from the logging, they are giving us $113,000 toward Fence River Road, which we're doing 1.85 miles. At a cost to us now is $114,000 because we moved COVID money into that project. Of $111,000, we took the $113,000, and that reduced it all the way down to $114,000. We got good savings on that. The county gave us a good deal on the bidding. But we have terrible roads out there. We're spending our money. Within another 5 years, I got $2,200,000 to spend in 10 years. I can go back to the people and ask them to raise the limit outward another 10 years to get more funds to do roads. To do a Class A road, 1 mile, $320,000. That's pulverizing and bringing it back to a Class A road. That's what it costs us for 1 mile road. Actually, it was 1 mile and a quarter, I had another $112,000 Humboldt paid for on the other end of that road. So, I don't know about giving a $10 million for a roundabout at 480 and 553, when that $10 million can go out to the townships. I'm not happy with the money that was given them for chip sealing, when there's a lot more in that pot from COVID that could have went to the road department to help the townships. I understand we only got, out of that money you gave them, we would only each township get $200,000. That doesn't even do a road. That's all I have to say, and I thank you for your time.
Thank you. Thank you for all you do as well.
Gary Wilmer, Supervisor of the Abbey Township. I don't know what you were told by the Marquette County Road Commission about the cost of chip sealing. I did work very closely with Jim Iwaniki when we started that program. We were never told that chip sealing would be completely free. Right now, I have chip sealing operations being done in Negani Township, and I'm saving 40% of the cost of those that it would have cost me to have Farner do. Farner was the company that did the chip sealing before. And now I'm paying 60% of the cost that I would normally pay to have my chip sealing done. Anything else, I don't exonerate the County Road Commission of anything, but I thought I could answer your question about where your chip sealing money went.
Yeah, I wasn't sure where they were at with that whole thing, but.
That's exactly where they're at. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Woomer. Public comment. Any further public comment?
Margaret Brown, 404 East Magnetic Street. There was a term used during Kathy's presentation to you that I thought would be helpful to talk a little bit about, because Kathy thinks 2 to 3 to 4 years out. And by her way of thinking, we'll start the training June 1st, and within a couple of years, there'll be trailers coming up over the bridge from E-Rail. And I wanted to assure you that E-Rail is existing right now. It's called E-R-A-I-L. It's a part of the MSU extension program, which we all agree is really good statewide. They do have these trailers downstate, and I was checking my phone while you all were doing county business, and they have good videos on showing what these trailers are like, because I'm sure a lot of you come from backgrounds where you can multi-purpose trailers. Like if a trailer was good for one thing, you can redo it. These are specialized trailers with specialized equipment, specialized locations. And I'm not as familiar with it as Kathy is, but if you look at these videos, they're very short, but they give you an idea of what MSU equipment is they're trying to do with each of these E-Rail trailers. However, unfortunately, I'm thinking Kathy's enthusiasm, she may have given you the impression that we're already on the list to get a trailer. We're not. They don't have us on any list yet. I double, triple, and quadruple checked on that. We are making contact with these people. And what's important about this training on June 1st is if we can show a lot of people of the interest of first responders throughout the Upper Peninsula for this type of training, we will go up the list for the first possibility of getting a trailer. Because right now, we're not even on their radar. It's just a bunch of people up here realizing the need is critically important. And I wanted to make that clear because I'm as enthusiastic as she is about this. We need to do this. Anything that can be learned, if you get the right people in the room with the right teachers, you can learn it. But in order to get the state involved, to get a trailer from them instead of having you try to find money in your back pocket, the commitment of resources and personnel is what's needed right now. So that's why we came here and begged you, and I mean begged you, to share that write-up and encourage your personnel to go. I'm going to go even though I promise you I'm not going to be within 100 feet of anything that's could kick me, because I'm not that person. But that's what I wanted you to know, that this is a tremendous opportunity to move us ahead of the list with a minimal commitment of time and effort of local personnel. Thank you for your patience.
Thank you. Public comment.
Okay, one more time. And I would just like to add on that topic that there are 3 trailers placed in Wyatt, Gaylord, Jackson, and Lansing have trailers, because they had really bad accidents that happened in their communities with livestock and they weren't prepared. And once Michigan State began the program to offer trailers to communities, they said, yeah, we want one, please. We can't get it here fast enough. And so what I'm here really to ask is that they're looking for, in the E-Rail trailer placement, first responders, a 24/7 service organization that would take the trailer, be responsible for its maintenance and that, and then be part of a team, have a team that can use that trailer. And the team can be put together in a variety of situations. In Lansing, it's the firefighters. It's at a fire station. In Jackson, it's at a fire station. And in Gaylord, it's simply their animal control officer that has it, their large animal emergency vet, and another responder from animal control that makes their team. So I'm asking that you please be receptive to us offering and finding ways to develop teams and obtain a trailer, and that we too could have this in our community and have it available for when it's needed. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Kathy, maybe you would like to give your information to the undersheriff, and he can pass that on to our 131 rescue group.
Oh, certainly.
Thank you. Any further public comment?
First of all, I'd like to thank you all for moving forward on this and on the SRF. I'd just like to clarify a little bit on the 7-year payoff on the combination loan. That was for going into the recycling program. And now, both those loans were 10 years. We're entering our 4th year. We're going to be paid off in 7 years anyway. So, I mean, I appreciate that. So that worked out pretty well. Thank you.
Thank you for all you do, Mr. Yell. Public comment? Public comment? Any further public comment? One more time. Electronic correspondent, any electronic comment? Hearing none, we'll close the public comment. Commissioners' comments. Commissioner Elholm, would you like to start?
Yes, I'd like to address the large animal emergency rescue workshop, and I'd like to follow through with the suggestion of Ms. Brum, and send this information to the appropriate departments, law enforcement, our emergency management, MSU extension, maybe with a note about the trailer availability, and I'm not sure from, I had asked this matter be on an agenda item, and I'm not sure if it needs to be anymore. Yes, okay, so that's my starting point, because time is running out here before June 1st to get to the appropriate departments, Sheriff's Department. Pardon?
I need a copy.
Oh.
So that's my motion.
Oh, you have lots of copies. Thank you.
I'm waiting for support.
Are you?
It's a motion to circulate that.
To circulate the,
Oh, I didn't hear what the motion, I would've.
so a motion by Commissioner Elholm to circulate the information presented, and support by Commissioner Lalonde. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Thank you. Commissioner DePietro, comments?
Mr. Chairman, awesome weekend we had with Dr. Joe Wyden and Harris, and really, I thought that was an outstanding speech by our Commissioner, Dana Lalonde, representing and thanking everybody in attendance to this great event. So everybody that was there had a great time, was able to mingle with everybody. I think that was very well organized, and I'll say one thing, I've never seen so much security in my life. You know, yes, there was. But anyways, it was a very good weekend, and I thank our commissioner for that great speech, and I won't ask you to repeat it, because, yes, but the audience there also appreciated everything that you had said, so thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Adamini.
I was there, and I concur in every remark. And the speaker.
Commissioner Lalonde, comments?
Thank you for the kind words. That's very nice. It was an exciting week. Every department seemed to work really well together in keeping it a secret, and it felt very safe. Just very exciting. That's really all I have right now. Really lovely summer weather, and I hope I'm not jinxing us right now.
Nothing to add to the previous speakers.
I have nothing. Hard to believe, but.
Hearing none, meeting adjourned.
Mr. Chairman, before you hit travel, I wanted to also thank our our county clerk, Linda Tausman, for being there. And I know she wants to say something.
She won't.
That you can't talk, right?